Hello and welcome back. I'm Scunny and today we're playing round 2 of our collaborative tile by tile series in City Skylines 2, where every hexagon tile has a purpose, or at least that's the idea. If you're new here, this series is a shared project with Poplar Ponderosa and Generic Lemon, and the map is created by Poplar Ponderosa based on Overcharged Egg's previous CS1 series. We're all building on the same hexagonal map, one round at a time. Each turn we unlock a new tile or two, and I've set myself the challenge to give each one a distinct role, whether it's functional, aesthetic, or just basically infrastructure. Last time I kicked things off with a 3-tile start. We built a small city inspired by mid-century socialist planning, with a central government and a cultural tile, complete with a train station and a grand pedestrian plaza. Following that, we have the gritty industrial tile with the oil refinery, oil port, general city services, and beautiful worker housing. Lastly, we have the quiet rural zone, with farmland, scattered low-density homes, and a tram connection tying everything together. This time it's round 2, and I've unlocked 2 more tiles, one for building, one for expanding connections. So today we'll start with the plan. We'll scope out which tiles to plan and decide what goes where. Following that, we'll start to build. I'll walk you through the construction process and share my design inspiration. Alright, time to jump into the city, pave a few roads, plant a few parks, and see what kind of shenanigans we can get up to. Okay, so when we put this city together, we were thinking of future progression. So we have many entry and exit points for road and rail through here. So the world is our oyster when it comes to expanding. And I think the 2 tiles that I'm interested in, remember, one is for transportation and connection. So it's not necessarily for building new neighborhoods or new city services. And then the other is for exactly that, expanding the city and creating a larger urban footprint. Last time I created this highway road that ran up to the edge of the map, and I think I'd like to continue that. So I suspect that will generate quite a lot of traffic, so we'll have to monitor that and make sure that we don't get too much congestion through here. But to be honest, I'm looking forward to it. I do enjoy a little bit of traffic fixing. And then when it comes to expansion, we do have a few options. So this one is quite hilly in the distance here. This one is fairly waterlogged and be quite difficult to expand on. So I think the one that's attracting me the most is this one down in the corner here on the coast. And what I have in mind today will take up a lot of space, so this is perfect. I'm hoping to make use of the Eastern European Disease Control building, which is based on one of the biggest buildings in Moscow. This one in game will give us a negative 25% disease infection risk and also a negative 25% health effects from pollution. So while we can expand our industry and build more workers' houses, we don't have to worry about people getting sick because we have this building, and look at the size of this. This is absolutely humongous. So you can see why we needed a tile with so much space. And then on the other side of the tile, we're going to create a new urban development, a modern neighborhood in socialist-era standards. And we'll try to break up the monotony by creating something with a unique shape. Something that inspired me, a real residential development also found in Moscow. But first, let's start to buy those tiles. So we'll have a look over here. So we'll need to get this one and this one. First thing I'm going to do is connect up this road. And I think that'll do it. It's a little bit wacky in the way that it looks, but if we just crop that section, it looks pretty cool to me. I like that. And we're already seeing loads and loads of traffic, which I'm super excited about. And from a distance, yeah, that looks really nice, doesn't it? I like having the external connection close to the city because it makes it a part of the city. It adds to the identity overall. Okay, moving over to our new buildable tile here. I think the first thing that we need to put down is that disease control center. Simply because of the size of it, we'll have to work around it and place the roads to suit the size of the plot instead of trying to make the building fit our layout. Okay, I think that is as good as I'm gonna get it. The LOD on this building is pretty crazy though, so if you go a little bit too far out, you get lots of really janky looking triangles. So I'll try to stay a little bit closer to this building as we work around it, but isn't this absolutely stunning? It's got 650 patients, up to 100 employees. We've got 26, we've got 41 vehicles, and that includes a few helicopters. It is a behemoth of a building, and I absolutely love it. I'm so happy that this is going to be in our city. Yeah, so we've already got a helicopter out attending to an issue, but if we just have a quick look through here and just appreciate the architecture. So this is in a brutalist style. It's quite a controversial style. Some people love it, some people hate it. It's all about minimizing decorative elements and creating something that is long-lasting and efficient. Okay, so with the building in, I think we can start to put down some of the key roads through here, as well as the rails. So we've got this rail line, we've got the train station at the center of our government tile. And I think for this, we can just align it up with the edge of the asset here and send it over the river there. Okay, so we've got the roads in a good place here. It looks like we're still not connected to the road. We're just a little bit too far away from the middle of this asset, which is really annoying that they force you to do that. Let's just add a little bit of a section here using the pedestrian path. That would be quite nice. But yeah, this is what we've got going on at the moment. We've got another access point here, which we can add shortly. But we've got this side street here, which runs over a few tiles. So it's a pretty important road. But it does kind of end abruptly at the start of this building. So we do have a connection that comes around the front. Unfortunately, it does need to cross over the train tracks, but we have a few level crossings through this build, so it's not that irregular for this city itself. And then we have it connecting up to the boulevard over here, and then we'll bring the tram line all the way up also. At the back of the asset, we've got a continuation of the road, so it comes down to the coast here, and then we have it going along the edge here over the river. We've got a couple of bridges that we need to sort out. This one looks like it might be blocking the flow a little bit. And then in case this road does end up backing up because of a car accident or something else, we've got an extra access point on this side of the building as well, using an alley road. And again, that does connect up to the train track, but I see a little bit of elevation here, so we might be able to get away with converting that into a bridge. I'll have a look at that. I didn't realize how lumpy and bumpy this tile was. Now that I'm looking at it a little bit closer. Over here in the residential development area is a circular residential estate. And we don't necessarily have any buildings that would fit a circular shape. They all use straight walls, straight edges, so we'll have to use our imagination a little bit. So if we head in to find it, and we've got the EE filter on, the building that we're going to use needs to have a flat roof because we need to be able to connect these up and make it look like it's one cohesive structure. So if I just put a few of these down as an example, and we could slowly rotate this as we go around this road, it would look something a little bit like this. And I do like this because it's got that aesthetic that we have throughout the city with these little glazed balconies. It also has a very detailed rear side, again with these glazed balconies. It looks really nice. The only issue I have is with the height. I think the height is a little bit too much for these residential blocks. The structure I'm basing this off is around about 7 or 8 stories high, whereas this is more like 12 or 13. So we could swap it with a different building. Maybe if we went for mixed use instead, something like this could work. And it does have commercial at the bottom, which is quite nice. And if we connect these up, but we could go for something like that. But between the two, I think these taller assets are more suitable for this style of build, whereas these look to be made of brick. Yeah. So we've got the circular building in place, and doesn't that look horrifying? Yeah, so I'm not going to do a direct replica of the structure that I've seen in Moscow itself. We do need to have access to the center of this building, and I don't think this asset itself has any alleyways that go underneath. No, so we will need to make space for that, which is perfect for us because I couldn't get the last asset to fit in here nicely. So we'll create maybe a couple of more entrances into this courtyard here. Maybe just one there and one here. Yeah, it doesn't need to be super perfect. We've got 4 buildings there, and then we've got 6 buildings. Well, actually, we could get away with removing that one and that one. And if we shimmy that around a little bit, that will give us a nice bit of space through here. Or not, maybe we want to go absolutely crazy and put as many buildings in as possible. But for the most part, that is what I was expecting to see through here. I like that. We just need to connect it up to the main avenue, and then for these other gaps that we've got around here, we can put some more of the regular linear housing, something that you'd expect, something similar to we've got over here where we try to make use of the space, but we do also want to retain the natural green landscape that you'd expect to see around here as well. Okay, so we've got a big queue of people coming in. And why wouldn't you? This place is glorious. Look at this garden. Although we do have quite a few homeless people gathered around, but we do have some regular people also just hanging out at the children's park. And with the trees here, they're very much needed in a structure like this. You can imagine when it's first built without the trees, the echo, the wind, it'd be a nightmare. But with all this growing up in there, I'm sure it's a much nicer place to live. And if you're on one of the higher floors, you're going to have a great view of the city and of the mountains. The water as well. It'd be very nice. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So this concept's coming together quite nicely. I think beyond that, as I said, either side of this we could use something a little bit more standard, a bit more linear. We could probably fit in 3 or 4 more rows of homes through here. I don't know, we'll have to work out the spacing, but for now, this is in a good spot. I'm happy with all the little streets. And as you saw earlier, there's just enough room for people to walk about in there. The trees are not too low, and it's a lovely place to live, I'm told, as long as the building manager keeps on top of repairs. Just a quick check-in, and I think these are built a little bit too close to each other. So this is 3 tiles wide, which is about 24 meters. But when I was having a look at some real-life examples of this, these are much more spread out with plenty of gardens and parks in between, more up to 100 meters between the buildings. So I think for this section we will just simply remove the buildings in the middle here. We don't need that road there, and I think that looks a little bit more realistic. And then we're going to disconnect this road from the main boulevard. It's unreasonable to have a minor road connected to such a major road like that, and I think that looks a lot better. Much better spacing, almost similar to the amount of spacing we've got on the inside of the circle here. Yeah, I think I'm finding the right rhythm. In the other parts of the city we may have gone a little bit too close. It's not too bad, but as I learn more about this style of architecture, this type of city planning, we can learn from our past mistakes, just like people did in real life. Do we have any other Eastern European buildings that we want to place here? Let's turn on the EE filter. Oh yeah, we've got some really nice assets here. So we've got the hotel, that's really nice. The theatre, but we've already got a movie theatre. And then we've got this other hotel asset, which I'm not ready to place down yet. I don't think they're needed. And then over here, we've got this larger structure, which might be quite nice to put on the edge of the city over here somewhere. I think that might be a good addition to the area. Yeah, we'll place that there. And I'm not sure if there's many other buildings that we could put down as well, but I don't think I'm ready to place those. I think this asset over here will be good enough, and as you're coming into the city, it's quite a striking piece of architecture as you come in. Yeah, I love that. Okay, so I continued working on this area where we placed down this new unique building, which is the Olymp Gdansk. Probably absolutely butchering that name, but I think it's such a fun name to try to pronounce anyway, so I thought I'd give it a go. So this is a 17-story modernist building, which is mixed use. We've got residents and we've also got a company which is film file rental. So we've got a little blockbuster at the bottom offering recreation, which is pretty cool. And next to that we do have a little shop as well, little grocery shop, which is quite nice, selling food. And then I sneaked in a little bit of office in the back as well. And I know this isn't necessarily a Eastern European asset, but I thought it kind of fit the build itself. Although I do think this tree could be moved over a little bit. There we go, that's quite nice. And it kind of covers up that white wall a little bit. And yeah, I went ahead and I upgraded the road through here. It's, yeah, not the smoothest ramp, but I wouldn't imagine a lot of time and effort would have gone into, you know, creating a super modern, clean looking bridge through here. This is just a little alleyway. And then I checked the water situation in the city. So we'd put down a small little water tower in the last episode when we built the government tile. However, I noticed that we were in a deficit. We were importing water, and I think both of the other cities on this map have their own water sources, so it was time to put down one of our own. So I've just got this pump in here, nothing fancy, and it may be a little bit out of scale for the area, but I thought this little backlot was perfect. This rail bridge, again, just temporary. Like, once we start to upgrade or expand the city, we can always come back and fix that, or I'll fix it off camera. But yeah, I thought the asset here had very limited parking. It was just a few spots in the back here. You got a couple of cars there. So I added this little car park here. I replaced the surface with one of Generic Lemon's custom surfaces. I think these are absolutely stunning. And the great thing about those surfaces is they overlap the grass edges if you upgrade the roads with them. And these are little side entrances. You can see that people keep using them, which is pretty cool. I like that. And then connected that up with a few paths. We've got the main entrance to the car park up here, which is necessary for moving water, electricity, etc. Over here we've got the food station. This is like a little restaurant place which I thought looked pretty interesting. It's got some very interesting architecture through here. Lots of parking around it which don't look like it was necessarily planned. And that's what I quite like about a lot of these communist neighborhoods, is you can see that they've tried to bring in parking and places for vehicles at a future date when it wasn't necessarily thought at the time when building these areas. And this little conservatory area, which is really, really interesting. They've got the little props on the inside with the transparent glass. I think that's really well made. And looks like we've got somebody going in there today with their dog, which is nice to know that it's dog friendly. And then I did go ahead and add this little hotel asset. This is the Eastern European one. This one is Hotel Polonaise. So this will hire a whole bunch of people. It's incredible. It's got 88 people working there, 625 rooms, which to me is a little bit off. To be honest, I think this would likely have 40 rooms at most. I don't know. But yeah, that's in there. That's going to provide hotel services. I don't think we've got any other hotels in the city, so this is a pretty good spot. The parking situation isn't very good, is it? We might need to add some more parking at the back because there's only about 8 spots. And then at the end here, we've got this little petrol station just as you come off the main road. Before we dive into a big speed build, let's place down some tram stops at the end here. Let's get some trams down and service in this area. I think it'll be super, super needed with all this high density here. And I like to put the trams on the opposite side of the road so they're not having to wait once they've picked passengers up. So they'll go there and there. And then we need to grab the line that we've got over here to drag it all the way out to the top. And then we need to create the in-between stations. So we'll pop that one there, this one here, and then make sure we've got a couple of stops up here as well. I think that'll be good. Let's have a look at this tram and where it's going. Okay, lovely. Yeah, we could do with shortening up these platforms. They're a little bit long, so we'll do that when we're fixing up the area. Tram's just dropped a couple of people off, and there's another one on the way. And the traffic seems to have calmed down now that everybody has moved in. Let's have a quick look at the area. I've gone through and I've completely filled in every space, every nook and cranny I could find. We've got footpaths, we've got parks, we've got trees, we've got car parking, we've got everything you'd expect in a neighborhood like this, and more. Whatever they could squeeze in. A little bit of parking here, another little children's playground there. The one thing that I did overlook, unfortunately, was schools. And you can imagine in a place like this, schools would be very, very important. So I think in the future, we will need to expand into this water tile in the future. Make sure that we've got some local schools. We could also bring in schools along here, replacing some of these commercial assets. I think that might be a fair compromise. But for now, I've placed the schools on this side, on the coastline. I've got an elementary and a high school. We got pretty decent capacity in these, so around about 1,500 elementary school places, and we got 800 high schools. So there's plenty of space for more people to move in if they need to. We've got a little playground here, little sports area for the elementary school, which is really nice, really colourful. Looks like it's been modernised recently. I love the colour of this asset. It's come through as orange on its own. That's pretty nice. And then over here, we've got just a few tennis courts with the high school. And yes, they probably would have more facilities, but I think it's okay. They've got a little bit of a playground in the courtyard that they can use. I imagine maybe there's public access to these lower areas which are open during the day, and people aren't necessarily needing to walk all the way around because that would just be horrendous. But you can usually just enter through here and then pop through the building and then come out the other side. And I added a little drop-off section here, so we finally have a connection that makes sense for the building to receive power and water, using this roundabout to bump it a little bit closer to the asset. But in the end, I could have just added this drop-off road here, which I think is suitably appropriate in its place at the back of the building, not bringing too much traffic near the front. And then over the side here, just added a little bit of office because we do have these helicopters constantly coming and going. They're so loud. And these office employees probably have maybe a little bit of double glazing or triple glazing, something to dampen the sound, because I wouldn't want to live nearby. It's a similar story over here. It's still a really noisy area near the train tracks, near the roads, near the car park. So a few more office buildings, which I think are perfectly placed. This is a Chinese building, which I think offers bonuses such as office efficiency, a bonus for university graduation, a bonus in an interest in university education. It also increases well-being within the area, which is great since we've got loads of people working nearby or living nearby. And then a -2 in crime rate within 500 meters. So this is a great asset to have in this area. And then if we have a closer look at our residential area here, I just think this looks absolutely stunning. I think we've got the scale just right, just enough space between the buildings, and even between the circular section and the straight sections, it feels all appropriately spaced. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with the amount of growth that we've got with all the trees. I was very careful not to keep anarchy on so that we don't get any unwanted trees in the middle of the road or in the middle of the paths. But you can see we've got people coming and going, got people walking their dog through here. And once you get to ground level, it doesn't seem as overgrown. And not to forget a few of these key park assets, and I know that's a little bit bright. We could delete the little chirper, but I like to imagine maybe for a special occasion they came in and just made the park a little bit fancier, added that colourful floor area for the students. And then we've got this little circular cafe here, which is really nice, offering food, I imagine. No, it's a park. I don't know if it has a business. It does have a Yaksu sign, which I think is for drinks, and that just fits in here really nicely into that little spot. And yeah, pretty happy with the result. I think we've done this tile justice. And yeah, we have to make sure that we're not too far away. Otherwise we do get that weird LOD on that building. And I do hope they fix that in the future. Okay, now it's time to take a look at your feedback from the last episode and make some changes to the city. Okay, so the first fix isn't necessarily one that we received in the last episode, but I did notice it throughout this episode. And when the tram comes in from the top side of the screen, stops on Grove Street, it ends up looping around the square and then back down the bottom end of the screen. So I think we simply just need to grab this tram stop, just move it a little bit further along the road. Okay, it looks like I just need to shift it over a little bit further. Okay, that seems to have fixed it. Lovely stuff. And while we're here, we can get to work on the first suggestion from the last episode. So I'm not that familiar with the climate in Central and Eastern Europe. However, I've been told in the summer it can get crazy hot. And throughout this area, we really don't have that many trees covering up the pedestrian paths. The main reason for that was mainly because I didn't want to block the view of the train station. However, I've seen many examples across all of Europe, all over the world, where pedestrian areas are absolutely covered in trees and shady areas. So where we've got these planters, I'm going to add some extra trees in there. I will avoid some of these around the statue because I think that is a vista worth preserving, especially as you come off the tram. However, around the edges, I can definitely see more trees around here. This is what we started with, and this is where we ended up. And I think this looks a lot better, especially down here on the main square. We've got so many more trees now, so much more shade through here. It might not seem as impressive anymore, but making these places feel a little bit more intimate and more comfortable as you walk in is actually really important in making sure that these areas thrive, especially when you want people to hang around, spend money at local businesses. So I think this is a great addition and a great suggestion, and I'm happy to have made it. Okay, so we're over down by the industrial tile, and the next suggestion we received was to make life a little bit easier for those that want to use their legs. And that is connecting up this residential area to the city with a pedestrian footbridge. And I think that's a great idea because at the moment we only have either the tram or we have this road connection up here. And although it may not be a super big shortcut, it is if you want to come down to this school. So we can use this little island in the middle, connect up to that road there, and then bring people down and across instead of having to walk all the way around. And I think that'd be pretty simple to do. And there we have it, super simple pedestrian bridge, making use of this beautiful suspension section in the middle. Do we have any trees in the way? We do. Let's just move those out the way. And I've been using the Control R shortcut more recently instead of using Move It. That just helps reduce the amount of times I'm using the mod, which can sometimes be a little bit tricky in a modded game like this and causing crashes. So I'm happy to see that. There's a couple of trees through here, but I don't mind a little bit of overgrown foliage here and there. Okay, so the last suggestion isn't necessarily one that came from the comment section. It's actually from Poplar Ponderosa and Generic Lemon, and they said it's absolutely fine if we want to connect up the city using rail without necessarily buying a tile. So at the moment we've got the train track coming through here, and if we look at the greater region, there's no train connections on the right side here, but we do have this train track that runs alongside the main highway through the area. So all we need to do is connect up the rail down here with the one up there, and we should be able to start a new service connecting between the cities. There we go, super simple. And yes, we do have this level crossing here, another one in the city. And when we get to this tile, yes, I will create an elevated bridge because this is one of the main roads going in and out of the city, and this just isn't justifiable in my opinion. Okay, let's connect our city with some of the other players. I don't think Poplar Ponderosa has a train station yet. However, we can connect a bus service, and Generic Lemon does have a train station, so we'll connect that up also. There we go. And before we head back, I think it might be worth going up to the edge of the map here since we're so close, and then we can make use of that connection there. Going back to Generic Lemon City, we'll go on the opposite side of the station here, and then we'll head back to our city as well. Oh dear, I've just realized that the main line doesn't actually connect all the way through to Generic Lemon City. It goes to this external connection and then reverses back out, so we won't be able to connect up to their city today. But what we can do, let's just remove those station points. We can connect up to this external connection, and then when Generic Lemon gets back into the city, he could work out how to connect up with this rail here, and then he can then connect up to the train station. And it's not like we don't have enough platforms if he wants to create a new line, or he's welcome to edit this line. Either way, we'll be using some of his train assets because we don't have a train depot in the city. Fortunately, any lines that we create on this map are able to share train cars from other cities. Okay, I was just having a look at what this city is called. It's called Pomeroy. So let's go into the train line and let's rename this Pomeroy. And this is heading to our city, which in fact we haven't come up with a name yet. And I did ask in the last episode for you to leave suggestions in the comments, and I've not yet decided what to go with. So if you go to my channel and check out the community page, I'll have a poll up with some of the top suggestions, and in the next episode we can rename the city officially. And I stand corrected, we won't be stealing Generic Lemon's trains. I'm not sure if he has a depot yet. We'll be taking Poplar Ponderosa's, who constructed this for his lumber industry tile, which is absolutely stunning, beautiful work. Not to forget to mention Generic Lemon's absolutely glorious agriculture tile. Alright, isn't that just lovely? We've added a new tile where half the city can now call home. Sure, we might have been able to optimize the space a little bit better, especially when it comes to school placement, but overall I think we've done a solid job growing the city and adding new services. With the new Research and Disease Centre, we'll see less pollution and better health across the board, giving us more room to expand, whether it's industry, offices, or more housing. It's a boost for the city and for the whole region. Now, I'm no expert at Eastern European, communist or socialist city planning, but I really enjoy the process of researching, finding inspiration, and bringing something new into the game. It might not be perfect, but it's something completely different from anything I've done before. And having such great assets from the community created region packs makes it even more rewarding. Hopefully we'll see more of those in the future. As for where we move next, that's a good question. And how many tiles will we get? Well, as a team, we haven't decided on the rules for the next round. Maybe it'll just be one tile, maybe it'll be a few more. If you've got any ideas of what we should do next, whether it's in this city or across the whole region, let me know in the comments. We've also been talking about bringing in guests. So who would you like to see, and what would you like them to build on this beautiful map? For now, it's time to pass the save file on to the next builder. I appreciate you spending your time here. I'll see you in the next one, and as always, take care, goodbye.